say hi to the Tokyo Town.
Hi, Tokyo Town.
Look at this. We're in a car. We're in a fancy car. You were fancy. You bought a car. When Meng buys something, I have to buy something. I'm gonna buy a house.
You're gonna buy your second house.
I bet
actually.
so. We are going down to Atami, which is about a 2-hour drive south of Tokyo. And I'm gonna go look at some houses. I've actually thought about this for a long time. You remember back in the day, I wanted to buy an apartment building, right? So I have a friend who bought an apartment building, like it's out quite far, and he seemed quite successful. But you know, COVID hit, all that stuff happened, and I thought, oh, it's just, you know, it's good to have something that I need high occupancy rates. And when we started the channel, remember we started talking about like, it'd be really cool to have a Tokyo BTM place.
Yeah.
Did I tell you I actually looked for a while? I think if we do one for Tokyo BTM, it has to be in gay area or accessible to the gay area. Yeah, I was out talking with a friend the other day who does Airbnb in other parts of the country, and he was like, no, you're thinking about it wrong. You don't want to do it in Tokyo. If you go out to the countryside where people vacation, then a lot of the places are going to be cheaper, and it's low risk. So it's a good opportunity to sort of like dip your toes into the market and see if you like it and if it works out and stuff like that. And for that, I have to choose an area that is popular amongst foreigners who come here maybe their second time, and also Japanese people who want to get out of the city for a day. So that's why Atami is really good, because it's, you know, we're doing a day trip today. You can get out for the weekend. They do a lot of things in the summer. It's a beach. It's a beach town, and the reason why it would be cheaper than other places is because Atami, my understanding is that it was developed in the 80s when everyone had money, and they're like, oh, let's go spend money and let's buy another house and like second or third house, blah blah blah. And then the bubble collapsed, and then the city just stopped developing. So it's kind of stuck in the 80s.
I see.
So if you talk to Japanese people, they'll think it's kind of like super Showa. It's super like retro and old, and like it has a charm to it, but also there's kind of like a dasai aspect to it as well, because it hasn't developed. But I also hear that now, because of that, there are some good deals. We're going to be seeing a bunch of places today. Not sure if we're going to be able to get to them all, but I thought it'd be really fun to take you with us on a little vlog adventure, because this is our first adventure in your new car.
Oh, okay. I don't want to oversell my new car.
But it's really nice.
Thank you.
Right?
So today we're just gonna take you around, show you these houses. We'll talk about the pros and cons, sort of what's going through, you know, my mind regarding like my goals and like what I want to see, you know, come of this. And then at the end of each video, we'll talk about the price. Let's go. Okay, I remember this house. This was actually the reason why I wanted to come to Atami, was for this house.
So let's talk about the size of this house.
So the size of this...
no, sorry.
You want to talk
First
about
of
the
all-
agent? This guy here? This guy here? So hard to organize anything with him. And I told you from the start, he was very like standoffish. Well, he wasn't aggressive or anything. He was just kind of like...
Grumpy old man.
Yeah, could not be bothered.
I mean, let's talk about the house. So,
Okay. So the size of this house is a 2 LDK, and it's 77.22 meters squared.
and it was built in 1984, right?
Which was my birthday.
Do you want to
Same
reveal
year
that?
I mean, people already know that, don't they? 2 LDK, as you can see, like on the bottom floor, there was like a really just large living room. And then in the kitchen as well, I guess that's where the dining room is. So it was pretty good. And then upstairs, they had 2 bedrooms.
I think my first impression for this house is it was kept very well compared to other houses, because like for other houses, I'm like kind of like gomiyashiki, and this house, it was really elegant. I feel like it still kept the glory of the old age, you know, like even the ceiling was very high, and they had this like a fireplace where something like that as well. So I feel like if you do an Airbnb there, it's the house that you have to do least for renovation.
But this was also 30% more than the other houses, right? So that was another thing where I had to look at this with, if I went with this house, I would have very little room to make any changes. So it kind of had to be usable from the get-go, you know? Here, this is pretty much why I wanted to see this house. Is all the pictures had this like massive balcony with this great view. I had this like image of maybe like having a barbecue out here and a, you know, a nice big table, and people could sit out here, have drinks and eat and like maybe watch the fireworks. But something about it when I got there, I think it was actually the drive to the place. The area was extremely industrial. Do you remember?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You talk about it.
There was something about the area where I was like, I don't know if it would be a fun area for people to visit, because it seemed to be like a little bit, you know, away from the main Atami area, and it had a nice view. If you're in Atami or you're here in an Airbnb, you're gonna want to like stop by a cafe in the morning or
but there were like factories.
It was factories all around,
Yeah.
right? And so that was a little bit, and that's of course something you can't see in the listing, but that was a bit disappointing when I found that out. So I was just like, oh, I don't know if the area is vibing with me.
Yeah. Okay, so let's reveal the price for this place. It is a little bit below 10 million Japanese yen.
So would you pay 10 million yen for this?
I mean, if you're coming from America, I think it's a
Everyone-
steal. Like,
yeah,
everything's
everyone-
like,
oh my
wow,
God, why didn't you buy
Japan is so cheap. Yeah, this house is in fairly good condition as well. They just need some renovation, probably throwing another 1 or 2 million yen. It's livable.
Yeah, I mean,
think so.
it might not even be 1 or 2. It might be, it's a lot of cosmetic, like change the wallpaper sort of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe replace the tatami, that'd be expensive, I guess. But,
場所とか
like, this one's more expensive than... All right, next one. Who was the real estate agent?
It was still the same person.
Oh, yes.
We had 2 houses with him.
Oh, he didn't even want to show this one to us.
He didn't?
He wanted to show me another one, and then I was like, no, it's not my budget. And he was like, oh, okay, fine, we'll go to the one that you wanted to do then. So this one was bigger than the last one. This is a 4 SDK, which means it has 4 rooms, and then there's a storage room. And a storage room in Japan, I guess, well, maybe
It's
the
another
same
room.
everywhere.
It's just 5 rooms.
But
yeah.
without
windows, where the light into the window is like too limited.
Exactly, yeah. And then it is 90.46 meters squared.
And it was built in 1980, so 4 years earlier than the previous one.
And this one was fine too.
Okay, I feel this one doesn't have any personality. That's what I thought.
It lacked the personality that the last one had.
It looks like a giant square.
It looks
and
like
everything.
an apartment too. From the outside, it looks like the type of apartments you have in Japan.
Yes, but I thought it was in quite good condition as
Yeah.
well, as we were reviewing back in at the video at the moment.
Especially considering the price.
That's
which we'll
true.
get into later. So this bathroom would be a full gut.
You love this bathroom. You said in the videos, like you said, like I kind of love this.
I mean,
said,
it's,
like,
it's hideous. It's hideous.
It's very
but It's
retro.
fun. It's very retro. Yeah. It's hideous in a fun way. The thing here is it doesn't have character, as you said. It was kind of okay to get to, but there was like no parking lot. The last one actually didn't have a parking lot either. But because it didn't have character, it also didn't have a view. And that was one thing that I really wanted. Not all the places, but I kind of wanted to sort of push the view. I think it was at that window,
it
right?
does have a view though.
But they lied to us.
It's like tiny.
Yeah.
It's like a tiny window over there.
I feel tricked because in the middle, they're like, this is the view, and it's just this like little tiny hole in the wall where you can like strain to see.
But it's kind of funny to hear you talking about right now, because I feel like when we were there, you didn't feel so negatively about the view. Where you didn't
Well,
voice it out.
is.
Yeah.
It's just that.
You were like very excited about it. It's like, yeah.
No.
But it is a view that facing Atami though.
Yes. So like had that been a bigger window on the balcony side and someone could go out there, like people coming and renting this place and having some drinks out there watching fireworks, it would have been different. You have like one little window. Everything else is just...
I mean, that's how people in advertising hotel industry as well.
Yeah.
They say it's ocean front,
Yeah.
but actually just see a tiny piece of the ocean, and they say it's ocean front, you know. Let's reveal the price for this one.
So this price was 6.3 million yen. So 30% cheaper than the last one. So I mean, like, that is a steal. That is a steal. As long as, of course, you know, this had to like pass inspection, right? Make sure there aren't any termites or the foundation cracked or whatever. But like, let's say everything checked out, that's cheap.
It's very cheap.
The balcony's
But I don't think this view is superior though.
Then the last one?
Oh, I don't think so.
Huh. Well, that's good because we're also going to other views. South.
Honestly, because I feel like as long as you can see Umi, what's different?
A new real estate agent. And this was the guy who was like super like passionate, right?
Okay, he was wearing a mask, but low key,
Yeah,
I feel like he was hot.
He was-
you know?
yeah.
So for this house, this was the garage. Garage.
Yeah, and which is good. This is the first one that actually had a garage. And like, if you're coming out to Atami, they're saying that people come in cars. For me, living in Tokyo, I want a place close to a train station because that is convenient for me, like in my mind. But you know, it makes sense. Once you go out of a major city, people don't really need to be close to the station. You can be far away as long as you have a car and you have a garage. And the last two places didn't have that, which is a problem. The biggest issue about this one was that like the outer walls were cracking.
You probably need
bad.
a couple million to fix just that one problem.
Yeah. So for me, that was part of the that was a huge downside. And you know, looking at the price, not only factoring renovations, but like fixing structural elements of it. You know, if it didn't have that issue, it would have been entirely different, I think.
Yeah.
So this is a 4 LDK, and it's a little bit bigger than the last one at 94.4 meters squared.
And the year of building is also at 87, right? So 1987.
So we're getting closer to your age now.
A little bit closer. Not yet there. Another thing is like your friend is also doing Airbnb, and he actually thinks this is one of the bukken that he thinks has the best potential, right?
Had the outer wall been the structure, been a little bit more stable, I think I would have agreed with that, right? And my friend, when he looked at this viewing, he didn't know about that element. I feel like if he knew that after the fact, he'd probably change his opinion. But yeah, it did initially have more potential. There wasn't a lot of things blocking it, and it had a bit of a view.
I don't remember the view.
It's
That's
right,
the point. Is it
it's
right here? So what do you think? Like, you think it should be a bedroom when you have a view, or like, do you think it should be a living room though?
I don't mind either way. What I want is a view with a balcony, because I want people to be able to go out and like have a coffee. But I think that people would want to go out and watch the fireworks, because every summer there's a whole bunch of fireworks across all Japan. But Atami fireworks are pretty well known. It's a big thing. And to be able to go and look over the ocean would be great.
It does have a balcony though.
It does.
It does.
It does. Should we go buy it?
So we're gonna go to the next house. I would say like so far the 3 houses didn't give me any bad energy. You know?
Yeah.
So like there's still like lots of sunlight, lots of like warmth to the house. So like I'm okay with everything. But we're gonna show you the next house. But before we do that, like let's talk about the price. So okay, so for this house, it's around the same price as the previous one. So it's 6.8 million Japanese yen.
Oh, is this the Gomiyashiki one that, and like no lights and grandma lived there? And
So this one, you can see I did a terrible filming job.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, because I was like stunned. I was basically, I walked in and it's like I didn't know what to do. Like I didn't even film. I was just like standing there, like what should I do?
I remember looking at you and I could tell instantly that you were just getting bad like juju vibes and you wanted out so fast. Your face looked like you felt it was like haunted. And yeah, and I think I even said like what's going on? You're like nothing, but your face just gave away everything.
But because I didn't want to interrupt your judgment, you know, I didn't want to.
Your face did. So this house is the biggest one yet. We keep on going bigger and bigger.
It doesn't feel like that.
It didn't feel like that. That's true. It really didn't. I wonder why it felt so big. But it's a 5K, so 5 rooms and a kitchen.
So there's no dining room.
So there's no dining room and there's no living room. So I guess for what I would have to do is I would have to use one of the rooms, blow it out and connect it because that's what people want. They want.
I don't think you should do anything
with this house. But that would have been the plan, right? Is make it like 4 LDK instead of keeping it as a 5K. And then the total amount is 118.38 meters squared.
That's the biggest so far.
That's the biggest so far.
And I didn't like it when they sell a house, they have like a 生活の痕跡, like they left things behind.
That's like the definition almost of like Akiya in a way.
Oh.
You know, it's like you go in and you have to kind of clean everything up. But So my friend, he was saying that he did have a house that he put an offer in, a different one, and he negotiated that with the price. He said, if you want me to clean this out, I have to like hire people to come help me and like dumpsters and stuff like that. So I want it for like $1 million cheaper. And then they were like, okay. So you could like negotiate.
I mean, we could save the Sentaki and sit.
Oh yeah. She's giving us design ideas.
Well, maybe it's a hidden gem. I didn't
could.
realize that. But even the agent was having a hard time finding lights.
Yeah.
You know, so like there was no lights to turn on in the room. I couldn't have a proper view of the house. And it was very dark. Maybe that's why I created this like haunted vibe, you know? So this is actually 10 years older than the previous one, where the other one before.
15 years older.
15 years. So it's was built in 1972.
Yeah.
Almost 50 years.
Yeah, so it's pretty old. And I think we're actually in the second, I don't really know the official name, but like the bay, which is lower than the main Atami City one. So the view that we're looking at is actually not Atami proper. I think it was called whatever this, Ajiro Bay, and that's technically, like, I don't want to like say it in a bad way, but it's the wrong bay. It's not the bay that I wanted to be facing. I mean, this just screams grandma. Like the bathroom just screams like it's very old, but I think
he has to use his phone. He had to use his phone to.
It just reminds me of these like scary haunted houses of videos or TV shows where they go find stuff or they go and try and find treasures in houses.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of vibe.
I wanted to get out there like so fast, you know.
I know you did.
But I'm like just viewing back the video. I'm surprised I stayed so long. But actually here, you told me to get out. You
just leave. See, I could tell at that moment.
Wait,
See,
so this is the bay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see.
Ajiro Bay. And it's beautiful. I mean, minus the like electric wires or whatever.
I remember also in this room,
Grandma's
they
bedroom.
had the ceiling is broken. So that's why like maybe it takes like a little bit more extra money to fix that, but I don't know.
Sure.
For this house, it's actually 6.5 million Japanese yen. Do you think it's worth it?
Oh, it's this one. See, this was if we're talking about
Personality.
this had all the personality.
Uniqueness.
Yeah, really. Even down to the metal bridge that takes you to the house. You like this one.
So yes, if I'm not doing an Airbnb, if it's like really my bisso, like my second house or like my tree house, where it's very cute. It's like 2 layers. It's also built on this like edge of mountain as well,
on
right?
the side of a mountain.
So it's kind of like very spy, like you know, like
well, the place next door as well looked like a secret spy hideout.
Yeah. I also have like the 90s vibe. I feel like the spy
Super
movie.
90s.
Yeah.
I think we were also wondering what would happen in an earthquake though, right? Like you're literally propped up on like metal, poles essentially, and it's just like jutting out of a side of a mountain. So the difficult part about this house though is that you needed a car to get to it. The other houses, like maybe you could figure out some sort of bus system, whatever. This one you needed a car, and there was no car space. There was no parking space.
It was a long drive as well.
Yeah. But look at that view. I mean, we're high up.
Is it facing the right direction?
No, it's facing Ajiro Bay, I think, as well.
Oh, as well. So there's no. Wait, but this one doesn't look like Ajiro though.
It is.
So I really like the vibe.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like people were there. Everyone it was their second. People were like using it for themselves. But of course, the difficult part about that was that like the reason why I think everyone's using it for themselves is because it's really high up in the mountain, far away, and hard to get to.
Yeah.
Like if I did an Airbnb here, how am I going to give someone directions to get here? It would be really hard, especially someone who maybe they haven't lived in Japan before, to be like, it's a high ask. It's a big ask to give them that address and be like, have fun trying to find it. Okay. But it was interesting because this actually, he is using this as a Airbnb or something similar. Like he's renting it out.
I mean, but he wasn't making money. That's why he's trying to sell it.
That's actually true.
We are only seeing the first floor, but there's a second floor below it.
Yeah. Oh, and it was with the bathroom that I loved. So you can pump in hot spring water. Actually, a bunch of these you could, not all, but this was one of them. You could pump in actual hot spring water into your own bath, which is super cool. It's quite expensive though.
I think we forgot to talk about the size of this house.
We did. So the size of this, so it's smaller. It's the smallest we've found yet. And it's 2 LDK and 70.35 meters square. Built in 1969.
Wait, so this is
really
actually
old.
the oldest one.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like it though.
I guess they were taken care of. I mean,
Anyway, so this house was also a little bit below 10 million Japanese yen.
Yeah.
One of the most expensive ones.
yeah. And that was a reason why. Well, there were multiple reasons why it just wasn't realistic. How can you make that work when like it's 10 million and you'd have to do a lot of work on it, and I might need to build a parking space somewhere, you know. So
Yeah.
it's just not realistic.
Out. So maybe this way.
Okay. 贅沢だね。
So nice.
Like I'd rather stay here.
Are you happy now that we've come to an Oshare?
Finally, right?
Finally,
like looking at all the Boro Boro house.
Now you're so fancy. Now you're so happy. Ooh.
It's so nice.